Right now, as you watch this video, your data is traveling through a cable thinner than a garden hose, lying on the bottom of the ocean, not a satellite, not the cloud. A cable, sitting in total darkness, miles under the waves. And if someone cut just a few of these cables, on purpose, an entire country could go dark in minutes. That's not science fiction. It's already happened. So how does this actually work, and why does almost no one know about it? Let's start with the biggest myth out there. Most people think the internet travels through space. Satellites beaming data down to your phone, bouncing between countries, floating somewhere above the clouds. It feels right. It sounds futuristic. It's also almost completely wrong. Less than 1% of international internet traffic goes through satellites. The other 99%? It runs through cables. Physical, man-made cables laid across the floor of every ocean on Earth. When you send a message to someone in Japan. When you stream a show filmed in another country. When a bank in London sends money to a bank in New York. It's not flying through the sky. It's traveling along a wire at the bottom of the sea. There are over 500 of these cables right now, stretching across the planet. Lay them end to end, and they'd circle the Earth more than 30 times. And here's the part that surprises people most. These cables are tiny. You'd expect something carrying the world's information to be massive, thick as a tree trunk, heavily armored. Most of it is about as wide as a garden hose. Inside, there are a few hair-thin strands of glass, fiber optic threads, no wider than a human hair, sending pulses of light at the speed of, well, light. That's it. That's what the entire internet runs on. Who controls the internet? So, who builds something like this? Who's responsible for laying thousands of miles of cable across an ocean floor no one can see? For a long time, it was telecom companies and governments. National infrastructure, treated like a utility, similar to power lines or water pipes. But that's changed. Today, some of the biggest cables in the world aren't owned by governments at all. They're owned by tech companies. Google, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft. These companies are quietly building and funding their own private cables, crossing entire oceans, just to move their own data faster. Think about that for a second. A handful of companies now control physical infrastructure underneath international waters. Cables more critical to daily life than almost anything else humans have ever built. And most of us have never heard their names. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. A fragile network. These cables are fragile, and they get damaged more often than you'd think. Not from explosions, not from sabotage, usually. From something far more boring. Fishing boats, anchors. A cargo ship drops anchor in the wrong spot, drags it along the sea floor, and snaps a cable that's carrying internet traffic for an entire region. It happens roughly 200 times a year. 200. Most of the time, you never notice. Because there are backup cables, alternate routes, redundancy built into the system. But sometimes, there isn't a backup. In 2008, several cables in the Mediterranean were damaged within days of each other. Internet access collapsed across parts of the Middle East and South Asia. Egypt, India, Pakistan. Millions of people suddenly cut off, almost overnight. In 2011, an earthquake off the coast of Japan didn't just cause a tsunami. It also severed multiple undersea cables, disrupting communication right when the world needed it most, right when people were trying to find out if their families were safe. So, if a fishing boat or an earthquake can do this by accident, what happens if someone does it on purpose? This is the part governments don't like talking about. Military analysts have warned for years that undersea cables are one of the most vulnerable points in modern infrastructure. No army needed, no missiles, just a ship dragging the right object in the right place, at the right depth. In recent years, there's been a noticeable pattern. Cables near contested waters, mysteriously damaged. Ships spotted lingering in the area beforehand, with their tracking systems conveniently turned off. No one officially confirms sabotage. It's almost impossible to prove. The ocean is dark, deep, and enormous. But intelligence agencies in multiple countries now treat this as a real threat. Some nations have started deploying naval patrols specifically to monitor cable routes. Because if you wanted to cripple a country without firing a single shot, this might be exactly how you do it. So when a cable does break, whether by accident or not, how do you even fix something like that? Fixing the unreachable. If something goes wrong, you can't just send a diver down. Many of these cables sit miles below the surface, in pitch darkness, under crushing pressure. Instead, there's an entire hidden industry built around cable repair ships. Specialized vessels that exist for one purpose: finding a broken cable in the middle of an ocean and pulling it back up to the surface. It can take days just to locate the exact point of the break. Once they find it, they lower a hook, sometimes over a mile down, to grab the cable and haul it onto the ship. Then, on board, technicians physically splice the broken ends back together, realigning fibers thinner than a hair, one, by hand, while the ship rocks on open water. A single repair can take weeks, and there are only a few dozen of these specialized ships in the entire world. If multiple cables broke at once, in multiple oceans, there might not be enough ships to fix them all in time. So, picture this for a second. Almost everything that defines modern life: banking, communication, government systems, emergency services, stock markets that move billions of dollars a second. All of it depends on a network of glass threads lying exposed on the ocean floor, protected by almost nothing. No walls, no guards, no real way to watch over thousands of miles of seabed, all at once. We built an entire civilization on top of something this physically fragile, and most of us never even knew it existed. So the next time your phone shows full bars, or a video loads instantly, or money moves across the planet in seconds, remember what's actually making that possible. Not a cloud in the sky. A wire, thinner than a garden hose, sitting alone in the dark at the bottom of the sea. If you like our content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.